but you were like, oh, I want to die on empty. And I was like, what does that mean?
Now it's my time to really focus on giving back, especially now that I have 50 years of living.
How powerful it is actually if you're in a place to be able to show your whole self. Can you share another deep dark secret? Because it's like one of my favorite questions ever.
So, well, I shared a family secret. I shared a business secret. Maybe a personal secret. What's a personal secret I can share?
Welcome back to Heart and Head Work. I'm Rocky Donati.
I'm Tessa Arneson. Thanks for coming.
We are so stoked to be with Angela H. Brown. Hold on, because we're going to explain what the H stands for. It is important. She is the publisher of SLUG Mag, and she's also the executive director of Craft Lake City, coming your way soon. And we are also graced with the presence of, if you're on video, if you're watching us on YouTube, you might be able to see Hondo. He is SLUG Mag's chief auditor of happiness, and he's making us smile because he's just down here just being so damn cute.
He's the cutest.
He's the bestest boy. Anyway, so Angela, back to you, the important guest that we have. What do you want to do today, T?
Well, I thought we do usually a meet the moment, which looks like a lot of different things, and something that came up today because somebody brought in a tarot card deck, and we thought, wouldn't that be cool to pull a quick card to help us guide our conversation?
I love tarot cards. In fact, I keep them in my office. We bring in different decks, and we don't use them every day, but sometimes we go through weeks and weeks where we are pulling them every day. Just kind of, it's really fun. The team brings in different ones. And
do you have a favorite deck?
Gosh, I should really memorize the names of the decks. I haven't done that.
Well, that's okay. I mean, if you don't know the formal name, that's okay. But is there a deck that like you're drawn to, or you just kind of like all of them and like the rotation?
So the deck that I bring out for events is I bring out
the special deck.
And it's more of like an affirmation deck, but it is Gabby Bernstein's decks from The Universe Has Your Back. I love Gabby, and she's got these beautiful, I think she has like 3 different decks that I have. And
cool.
I think they're also in conjunction with some of her books, but they're just really wonderful affirmations and like words of empowerment. And I like to bring those to my events. And then before we start each day, we have the team draw one for themselves. We pass it around and everybody gets one. And it just really kind of starts off the event right, because if we are in the right mindset and putting out the right energy, that's just going to be part of what we're giving the community. And it's so important that our team kind of starts the event day with intentionality and with love and with gratitude. And again, that big energy. And that really kind of helps us all sync up.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. This one in particular is Lo, our podcast producer's deck. And it's by a woman called Kim Kranz, and she has a deck that both Tessa and I have, which is the Animal Spirit deck, but it's called the Wild Unknown Collection. If you guys are not familiar with it, I highly recommend looking at it, because she is the artist who hand drawn. Not that there's anything wrong with computer drawings, but she actually does all the drawings by hand, a lot of watercolor, and then translates it over into the deck. And then she also does all the writings and stuff. So it's really beautiful deck. And you can't zoom in or anything.
Yes, I've seen her decks before. They're beautiful.
I love the Animal
She
Spirit.
just launched a new one that I just picked up, actually.
A third one? A fourth one. Because she's got the archetypes, Animal Spirit, Tarot.
There's one that is like it's the Wild Unknowns, but it's got mystical. It's like the Animal Spirit and mystical creatures combined.
Cool.
Fun.
I know.
That's super fun. Like dragons, unicorns, fairies.
Totally.
Sick.
I think my 4-year-old would love that.
So yeah, we're gonna give
Pull a
you
card.
the honor of pulling.
Okay, cool. Have you guys ever made your own deck?
No, but I love this idea.
Yes.
I have one deck called, if you can't tell, I'm obsessed with animals. It's a medicine animal card deck that was created by, I think, a group of indigenous peoples. I don't think it was just one author, but they have blank cards that you can fill in with your own animal. I've never filled it in, but in theory I could, and then I would have my own. So long story short, no.
Do it.
I know. I don't know why I haven't filled it in.
My executive assistant for Christmas this last year made me my own deck.
Oh.
It was so special. Yeah.
Surette, shout out.
Yeah. Shout out Surette.
A really good
That's
gift.
dope.
And she watercolored it.
Looking at Heather.
And she,
The artist in the room.
yeah, well, and Hondo has a card in it. And like some of my, it's based around my persona. It was really cute.
Oh, that's
super rad.
a great gift.
I like that. Even just one card would be cool.
Yeah.
Like not even, but you got a whole deck?
It's like, I think, how many are in it? 10 maybe, or 5 to 10.
That's awesome.
So it's like a little mini deck.
That's super awesome.
All right, what did you pull?
the one.
The one.
Ooh, what's the number on that? Because I think these are in-
30.
Yes.
Triple 10.
XXX. It's a straight edge
Ooh,
card.
X.
Triple X.
Growing up in Utah, I kissed those boys.
Oh, we're going to love this. The one. Non-duality, one love. Our ability to experience this archetype firsthand is limited. It comes in brief and potent moments that we are left to savor for a lifetime. The one is both the energy that invites all living beings and our capacity to sense this intimate union. This archetype eludes us most of our lives, appearing as a concept in a distant galaxy. Yet when we are in the midst of its power, a solemn reverence falls across the land. We glimpse ourselves in the vastness of all consciousness and are neither small nor large within that field. We are neither important nor unimportant. All duality fades away, and we are left with what is, the precious knowing that life is a gift, and we are both the giver and the receiver of this fortune. It is said that Om is the primordial sound of the universe, and that all other mantras are born from it. Simply imagining this possibility will activate the one.
Om.
Om mani padme, om mani. Yeah, we could do a lot of things.
There's actually a really incredible metal band that I love and adore called Om. Check them out.
Oh,
They're
metal.
Yeah, they're really good.
You gonna sing a
Okay.
song for us?
Okay.
I can't recall any of their lyrics right now, actually.
That's fair.
But
That's fair. If
I'll
you had
share
a
it with-
guitar, you would just rip it out for us.
Right? I should learn how to play one of their songs.
Om. I like that even your metal guitar is like soft and lovable. It's not like dun, 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 dun. You're like, oh no.
It actually tracks with this band because they're a form of metal that's doom metal, which is kind of like low and brooding and kind of like slow and rhythmic, and then builds to like a heavier, slower, sludgy.
Are you still headbanging to this? Like, does it have that kind of
You
energy?
can do like a slow head bang, like a.
Were you holding your breath while you were doing that?
I probably was.
I can see the like.
We're just thinking also first headbang. Yeah. On the pod.
Oh yeah, we haven't had.
We
a
haven't had
headbang.
any headbangs.
Save for you.
Thanks for doing that.
Shout out to
Getting it first.
Kevin
Doesn't
Kirk, Heavy Metal
surprise me
Shop.
because your middle name is
We love Heavy Kev.
Helen.
Yes, that is my middle name.
Okay, tell us about this story.
Yes. So my father went on an LDS mission to France, and this is back in the 1950s, I believe. And it was before the LDS, church sent missionaries on planes. And so he actually got to take the Queen Mary over to France. And apparently, I mean, can you imagine what France was like Paris in the 1950s?
It'd be so sick.
Apparently he just had the time of his life because, LDS missions are 2 years, and he wrote back and politely asked if he could extend his mission for a third year, and they said yes. So he was there actually a little over 3 years, and he met this woman there, and her name was Helen, and they just really had a great connection, but she would not convert to the LDS church. And so, he kind of had to say goodbye and came back to the States, and she stayed there.
Choose her.
No, it was that unrequited love. And so that's where my middle name comes from. It comes from her.
Did your mom know this?
Yes. I love that question. That's the first question most people ask when I tell them the story. And she did know this. And in fact, one time I actually asked her about it. And I said, this is what I remember. Because my father died when I was in my early 20s. And, later in life, I had this conversation with her. I was like, hey, this is what I remember the story of my middle name. Is that true? And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And I was like, what did you think of that? And she said, oh, I had paid no mind. I mean, I'm the one who married him. Which I thought was really wonderful too. That confidence.
Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, really nice accountability. We're like, no.
Right. Well, and when
Know about
he
his life?
passed and when she passed, and I guess this was before she passed. So I got married around 10 years ago, and Fletcher and I, my partner, we decided to go on a honeymoon to Paris. Never been to Paris before. And so as part of that, I was like, oh, I want to look up and see where my dad, was stationed for his mission, where he lived, and his missionary branch and all of that. And so he had this missionary journal that is like treasure to my family, and my older sister has it. And I was like, can I borrow the missionary journal? And she's like, absolutely not. I was like, please, like, I'll be really good, careful with it.
Yeah, but you glossed over that really quickly. It took my brain a second. Absolutely not.
Yes, she, I think she, sometimes these like
Physical
tropes
objects
and then these tropes we have of people, especially in a family dynamic, like I will always be the little sister. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And the way that my family dynamic worked is my parents had 3 kids. They waited 11 years and then had 3 more. And she's the oldest. And
no
so
way.
I don't know how many years older than I is she, like 22 years older than I or something. And so she still sees me as like this young, like probably kid, like baby or something,
Yeah.
And so she's like, you're going to ruin it. Or it's like, Lara, my dearest sister, I own 2 businesses. Like, I'm very responsible. I can take care of this journal. So, after being very patient and like having discussions, she finally said she would let me borrow it, but only like a limited amount of time, which I agreed to. So I got it for like a week, and I like poured through it, and I was looking for any reference of Helen. I was like, is Helen there? And didn't find anything, but I even through some of like his other like papers and things like that, I was like always looking at, and I'm sure there's something somewhere. I just haven't found it.
Oh, there's got to be a love
Right?
letter.
There's got to be a love letter. Like,
for.
I miss you, but I had to choose
Bon voyage.
my
Mi
religion
amor.
over you.
I don't actually even know any French. Is it mi amor?
Is that
not.
wait? Is that Italian?
That's totally Italian.
I mean, I took junior high school French, but yeah,
But that's awesome.
It's a really sweet story.
it's pretty fun.
So that's what the H stands for.
That's what the H stands for.
Stands out a lot. Other Angela Brown, step aside.
Step aside.
Helen.
Yeah, and so that gives me my initials AHB that my team likes to call me AHB. So that's pretty fun. Yeah.
Ab.
Good to be back. My favorite weirdo.
So tell us about yourself, Angela.
Yes. Well, what would you like to know?
I think what I thought was really cool is recently you and I had a chance to talk to University of Utah students, thanks to Cindy Savage and Grant, who's a professor over there. And every answer you gave was just like, I'm trying to like look at the student body, but the whole time I'm just like looking at you and like taking little notes on cool stuff you said. I remember one of the cool things that you said, and I'm probably going to butcher the language of it, but you were like, oh, I want to die on empty. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, just put all the energy out. So like maybe start there. What's this die on empty theory and philosophy you've got on life? And did I say it correctly?
Yes. Thank you for asking. Yes. Die empty. It's the exact same thing. And the reason why I want to die empty is so I turned 50 in January, and it's been a really incredible experience to admit that, right? As a woman and I kind of like proclaimed it to the world. I did this little post on my social media account of like, I'm 50. And it was really empowering for me to do that, because as women, we're often taught to, especially my generation, right? You don't talk about your age, you hide it.
Are you a Gen Xer?
Gen Xer for sure.
You strike
totally.
me as a hardcore Gen Xer.
Total Gen Xer. And even, one of my staff members who's Gen Z, we were working on like this grant project together, and I was editing something, and it was my bio, or there was some question where somehow my age, it could have been appropriate to talk about my age or something. And he was like, I know it's not appropriate to reference your age here or something like that. And, or it's not polite to ask your age or something. Sure. And I kind of loved that he wrote that too. And I paused for a minute, and I was like, he's not wrong, but also let's change that, like I don't want to be, it's not shameful. It's a privilege. The fact that I've been on earth for 50 years is such a privilege, and it's beautiful. And I want to be an example for other women that we can age and still go to heavy metal shows. We can still learn how to play guitar. We can still have dreams and goals. And I mean, I had a kid at 45, and which I'm very grateful for, because not everyone has that privilege either. But just, our dreams do not have to stop when we're 25. And I even see that with my young team saying that I'm so old, and I just laugh and I'm like, well, you know how old I am, right? No, I'm 50. What? And they're freaked out by it.
My grandma.
Right. Like, you might be the same age as my mom, or wait, are you older than my mom? Might be, and I think, it's kind of empowering to own that and work on that social stigma. And so when I say I want to die empty, it was about embracing my age and then realizing, okay, now that I am middle-aged, right? I hope I live to be 100, right? I want to, now it's my time to really focus on giving back, and which giving has always been important to me, mission-based work, but especially now that I have 50 years of living, there's a lot that I've learned.
That was Hondo. Anyone, if you heard?
Shake it off, buddy.
Hondo's like doing laps. And I don't know. He's funny.
He's feeling that. He's like, let's go, mom.
He's
Let's go. We got
energy.
this. Yeah. Talk about how old you are. I'm old too. We're old. This whole
Yeah,
room
in
is full
dog
of
years,
wisdom.
he must be 70 something in dog years, right? Yeah. So that's what it is dying on empty or dying empty. Let's share this with the world. And because my father, he died when I was in my early.
I think he's stepping on the lights back there. And so it's probably like sliding a little bit. Yeah. So your dad.
Yeah. My father passed away when he was 72. And I think about that a lot.
That's so young.
It's young,
That's
right?
soon.
22 years. If I only had 22 years left.
How would I live it?
Exactly.
What's some bucket list items?
Oh, travel the world at every single country.
Is there like a next country on the stop list that you really want to go to?
Actually, so next year we're going to go to Italy. So every single year we take my daughter who's 4 it's our goal to take her to a new country. And so far she's 4 and she's hit 8 countries, which is great. So we're ahead of schedule, which is
totally
awesome.
ahead of schedule. Yeah. She's like an 8-year-old now.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. All right. And this year it was Korea because they opened up the direct flight from, we're a Delta hub. So Delta did a direct flight from Salt Lake City to Korea to Seoul, which is amazing. Everybody should do it. It's so awesome. 14 hours gets you there like that. Seriously. It goes by so fast. But Italy has been on my husband's bucket list for a long time and he really, really wants to go. And so I picked Korea. He's picking Italy. So
that's awesome. What do you guys hope for your daughter to learn what's the reason behind the travel?
Well, travel for me, I've always been into travel. Like traveling for me, I need it. And when I say that, I need that inspiration. I need to just see how other people are living. I need to see other parts of the earth. I need to see nature in other countries or, things that can't grow here. Obviously there's pictures and videos and things like that, but I need the energy of travel and of being in new spaces. It makes me feel alive and inspired. And there's always something that I can take back to Salt Lake and sort of, I guess, make it my own. Yeah.
I think about, I travel with my kids everywhere and it's like not even a thought. It's like, well, of course we're bringing them. Of course we're planning a trip to India right now. And I'm like, people are like, I can't believe you're bringing kids to India. Like they've been all over the world. Why would we not bring them? Right. But I think that I really want them to understand the world through a broader lens than what Salt Lake can offer. Right. And growing up with, they won't know what it's like to go hungry. They will be able to grow up and choose to go to college or not go to college. Like those things will just be inherent. And I think I really want them to understand how the world works in other places and how life is not always fair and how life is beautiful, even when you have, a soccer ball made out of t-shirts wrapped in rubber bands like they got to see in, Kenya.
Yes, that you can. True happiness isn't just with a Disney princess dress.
Mm-hmm. It's not a thing, right?
Yeah. And I love that, and especially, it's really important to go. I think for my daughter to surround her in spaces where no one speaks English. We experienced that quite a bit in Korea, which was wonderful, and it was adorable too to see her kind of try and internalize it and express it in her own way. Like she was like, why is everybody speaking Spanish? At first I was like, oh no, honey, that's not Spanish. And we've been to Japan. Oh, is it Japanese? No, actually it's Korean. Oh, that's right, we're in Korea, just little fun things like that of seeing the life through a 4-year-old. But I think it's important, to put them in experiences where they can't control things, right? Like you can't control that you're on a plane for 14 hours. So how are you going to deal with it? You're in a new stressful experience. And also for us as parents too, to choose to do something like that other parents are like, hell no, that's way too stressful. But, we can learn how to regulate our emotions and our systems so that we can handle it. And the benefits far outweigh the risks and any stress that's there.
I agree.
Did you travel a lot as a kid with your family?
No.
What sparked the desire or the drive?
Yeah. Well, I never my parents did take us on like some family vacations here or there, but the way that our family dynamic was set up, there just wasn't a lot of opportunity for us to do travel financially, but also both of my parents had a lot of illnesses when I was young. I mentioned that my family there's sort of like two sets of families. Like my parents had 3 kids and then they waited 11 years and had 3 more. And so there's this age gap between the two sets. But also by the time that I came around, because I'm the last of 6 kids. My mom was by then diagnosed bipolar schizophrenic, and my dad had already been through, he was just starting to kind of go in his own medical journey of having heart failure and heart disease. And so he had a bunch of like bypass surgeries and angioplasties and angiograms and things like that. And he was also an entrepreneur and running his own businesses and had a lot of crippling medical debt for my mom. And so we would try and take some vacations here or there, but not very many. But so as soon as I had enough money to save up and I had friends that started moving away, then it was like, oh, let's go visit the friends and see what their life is like. And it was through those experiences that I just got hooked.
Can I ask a follow-up question unrelated to travel, but what was it like growing up?
That is literally the question I was going to ask.
Yeah, in that household. I think a lot about this question because I work with a brain injury. And so my little kids are growing up in a household with a mom that has to sometimes be different in how, like quiet or less available or less bandwidth to be patient with them. And so I just wonder, like, from your perspective, like, what was that like for you? Because I'm often worrying about like, oh man, I hope they're getting this awesome childhood despite, having a mom like me.
And they are, especially since you're concerned about it. The most 100% are. Yes. And, but to answer your question, I don't really know because that's all that I know, right? But despite my mom having to be institutionalized, being on every single medication that was out there, right? Because mental illness is still pretty new and she got really sick in the 70s and 80s. So at one time she was on every single antipsychotic or antidepressant on the market that was available. And she also had electroshock therapy. I mean, she really had such a tough run at it, but despite all of that, she was an incredible mom. I have so many great memories of her and we were so connected, even though, we had kind of these demons that she was fighting. And I think in some ways it was a blessing for me because I'm so resilient and I've, as an adult, and the one thing I think about being a mom is like, we can't protect our kids, right? Like, and we just know at some point that they're going to experience so much pain, even though we do have a wonderful privileged life compared to many, right? There's still going to be a lot of pain that they're going to experience. And of course I've experienced that in my own life too. And growing up with a mom like that, that resilience just made me stronger and more equipped to deal with when it was my turn to have my own demons. And so, and give me so much respect for her and what she had to go through and the sacrifice that she made for us kids. And so I think your kids are going to be just perfect. They already are perfect, but it's going to make them stronger. And I think your relationship will be really different because of that in a positive way. I don't think it has to be, it's going to be different, right? But that difference can be good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have family that also suffers from mental illnesses, and my side of the family doesn't talk about it. And I to echo what you said before of the transparency, the communication, the awareness, the ability to talk about it. I think that's the big shift that we're making for the better, because you can't protect everyone, which is what I think hiding everything behind the scenes was attempting to do, is like, oh, if I'll just use me as an example. If Rocky doesn't know that her grandma has all these mental illnesses, then Rocky will be fine. We'll protect her. We'll keep her safe. When in reality, it made so much more confusion when my grandmother is very unpredictable and very violent, to be like, well, we didn't expect that. And I don't think they could have taught me to expect it, but I think they could have taught me that something could happen, and that just diminishes the surprise or the unknowing a little bit more and gives kids the scope of like, oh, grandma's suffering from something, so she can do X, Y, and Z. We're just going to love her through that. And then also to give us the tools of, how do I treat this woman?
Yeah.
It was like, don't just hide from her, basically, like ignore her. And that's not a way to treat a human. That's not a way to teach a kid how to have tools to treat anybody. So,
And empathy.
yeah, there is no empathy because I had no idea what was going on. So all I can have is fear for this woman who might have a moment. And it's an interesting thing to watch us kind of shift what I know we all feel like is probably not enough. Like, we want to do better, we want to do more, because that's the incredible thing of our generation is, you know, we're all like go-getters and stuff, but it's still super positive that we're now at least talking about it. And if that's the one big step we take, oh, that's a huge pivot from where we were before. That's a 180.
I love that we're talking about it. I mean, and I think that's something that this point in time culturally we're shifting is the cover-ups, right? And that we're really looking at being transparent and having open conversations. And Tessa, that's so beautiful that you can openly, even just now, talk about you know, something that you're struggling with, a brain injury, you know, and it's important that we don't hide these things, because so many other people out there are experiencing problems that are very similar to us, that have brain injuries right now, that have kids, and that are worrying the same exact thing. And if they can look and hear your story and how you're dealing with it, that's going to help them. And it's so important that we continue to share ourselves in this way, and especially like the dark stuff that we don't want to, that we just want to bury. That's the stuff that we really need to share.
When did you learn that was a power or like a piece of importance for you to share, even, you know, that dark stuff, that it may help someone else?
Thank you for asking. And it's actually, again, just been recent, back with this kind of, I mean, I've really been working on, I guess, my leadership skills and my business, and not trying, but really with the goal of being just a better human. And it's kind of through that process that I've realized that I've been hiding myself from the world, even though I am kind of a public figure, right? But even from when I first started my artistic career as a photographer, I would hide behind the camera because I didn't want to be in front of it. People were always asking me to model, to help them in front of the camera. And I'd always be like, no, I'm behind the camera. I'm not in front of it. I would be asked to speak and I would say no, you know, and then over the years, I became a little more open to that. And some of that was out of necessity for my businesses. Right. And then I realized, wait a minute, I've been purposely like in the shadows this whole time, when I should be just giving of myself. And so I've been really making an effort this past year to do that. And especially to lean into like the scariest things of all, like even me just talking about my mother being bipolar schizophrenic, I would never really share that, you know? And also because I was taught not to.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I was just, as you were saying that, I was thinking about, there's been a fair amount of, we are connected. All three of us are very connected in Salt Lake with the rad women that we get to work with and meet. And there's been a fair amount of women that have actually said no to being on this podcast because I have some theories. And that's one of the reasons. But
wait, you think that's a real reason?
I don't think it's a
okay.
real
Good. I was going to say that's not the fucking reason.
I don't think
at
that's
all.
the reason.
Absolutely,
but
not.
I think there's this. Like women have been made to sit in this system to be agreeable, to look a certain way. And a lot of the women that say no are women that have quite a bit of power Oh, I know, Hondo. It's fucked up. I agree. This
I was
system's
just
so
gonna
dumb.
say,
That was
bro.
wild.
Yes.
I am
Thank
also
you.
irritated.
It is
Appreciate
annoying.
your support, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate
We need
it.
more men at the table. Thanks for being one of them, buddy.
That was wild.
That was perfect. I mean, let it out.
Let it
this shit
out.
is pent up, man.
Well, and he usually doesn't bark
And
like that. That
I've
was
been thinking
wild.
a lot about how powerful it is actually if you're in a place to be able to show your whole self. Because a lot of these women who have a lot of power cannot because of one reason or the other, whether they're, in their own personal journeys not ready, or their jobs don't really allow them to show a fuller version of themselves,
Yes.
or they're beholden to someone higher that they can't share that sort of thing, or it's just a different generational thing. But it's been really interesting for the women that have said yes, and how delighted I am, but also that us speaking our dark is actually a form of power.
Yes.
To be able to say, yeah, this was my mom. This is her story. How sweet is that? And how much of an honor is that? But there's a lot of women that I think maybe they view this vulnerability as like it's still a bit, they're a bit worried in that space of, will I be seen as weak?
And it's so scary too.
Yeah.
It is so scary. And what are people going to think?
Yeah.
These are things that maybe my own partner doesn't know, or my best friend, because we all have so many secrets.
Me too.
And that secret can be a big, deep, dark personal secret, or it can even be a financial secret. Recently in my business life, because I've been looking at like, okay, die empty, how I can just share all of it. Right. And it's just been like coming to me in this wave lately. And a few months ago, it was just spontaneous. I was like, holy shit, I was walking into a team meeting and I was like, I got to tell my team about the debt that I'm in, that we're in as a company. They need to know. And as a business owner, these things are cyclical. You get into debt, you get out of debt, you get into debt, you get out of debt. Mm-hmm. And we've just been in debt a little longer than what's in my comfort level. And as the sole business owner, I've been working on this problem, working on it by myself in my solitude. And I just knew that that's not what needs to happen in order to get out. This is my opportunity to ask for help, which is something that, again, I think as women, we have a really hard doing. Yeah. I have an incredible team that I pay that want to help me.
Think about the problem.
Exactly. That can help me solve the problem. I don't have to have all the solutions by myself, nor should I, right? And so I just walked in and I told them, and I started crying in front of them and was like, this is where we are. Like, we're not going to go out of business. Your paychecks are still going to be cash, but you need to know this is what's happening and I need your help. And it was so vulnerable. I was so scared to do it, but I knew I had to do it. And it was so freeing and liberating. Also, they were completely shocked. They're like, what do we do? Like, Angela's crying. Like, what's happening? But they all did rally together. And some team members were like, thank you. That was so beautiful. Like, that was inspiring. And I think that helps to share, especially with finance too, right? Money is another thing we're taught not to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think we got into these places of power or privilege because we did have to shapeshift along the way and play these secrets and play these games in the system that, worked for us until it didn't. And I'm just so curious as to how to explode that whole thing.
Yes. Well, and one thing that I actually worked on, because I've had a lot of people recently ask me, like, how did you get to this point? How did you have these tough conversations? So I actually built a resource, like a little worksheet, 1 page that you can go through that will help you identify like one tough conversation that you need to have. And that can be with your team in a business sense, or it can be with your family. It can be with anyone, really, even just yourself, right? And maybe that's where it needs to start, is having that one tough conversation with yourself, and to stop. And I wouldn't say lying, but sometimes we have these fake conversations, right? Mm-hmm. Where we justify or rationalize things, and we know it's just not going to serve us for where we need to go. We need to just stop and acknowledge it. And so it's a little worksheet that you can kind of write out and get in touch with what you want. And I'd be happy to share it with you all if you want the resource.
Do.
Yeah.
We'll attach it in the show notes.
Yeah. Yes. Attach it in the show notes, and you can DM me. I'm happy to send it to anybody on my Instagram, which is at the real Angela. But yes. And I'd love to hear what people think of it too, because I want to encourage everyone to have these tough conversations with themselves, with their team, with their family. And let's share like the deepest, darkest secret. Let's just get it out. It's so liberating.
Can you share another deep dark secret? Because it's like one of my favorite questions ever, but I'm also feeling very greedy since you've shared many secrets already.
Oh yes.
What's one conversation that maybe you haven't had, because you'll have plenty of time before this airs to have it.
Yes. The sunlight sanitizes. Let's see what it does. Sunlight.
Oh, great. Okay.
The sunlight sanitizes. What do I need to unearth? Ooh, yes. What is something that needs to come up? Let's think about that for a minute. Okay. So, well, I shared a family secret. I shared a business secret. Maybe a personal secret. What's a personal secret I can share?
I'm locked in on you now.
Well,
but I'll try not to stare at you with
actually,
weird eyes.
let's talk about. I mentioned that at 45, I had my daughter Esme, and I had 7 miscarriages before that. One of them that was like I was like 4 months along, and I probably should have gone to the hospital. I didn't. Instead, I was on the bathroom floor for like 6 hours. Probably, like in retrospect, like could have bled to death. Like couldn't move. Like, and this is so funny. My husband came home from work, and he kind of like, we're talking through the bathroom door, and I told him what was going on, and he was so supportive. And so he but at the same time, when it's going through something that is so emotional, it's so private, but it's also something like your partner's there to support you. But I also didn't want him to see me like that too. So he left me like food out in front of like the bathroom door, and open it up and like bring it in. And I was losing so much blood that I was so weak. And of course I didn't tell him. I mean, he knew, but I didn't tell him that it was like that bad. And I was like, I need some coconut water. And we had coconut water because I knew that would be like a help.
Extra electrolytes. And you're like,
exactly. And I was like, get me a banana.
DoorDasher.
And so he would like bring me this, and just stayed with me on the other side, and didn't push me. It was like, I can be there. I can come in. I can hold your hand. And but for me, I kind of also had to process it alone.
Yeah.
And it was so tough to go through that. And then afterwards, I had this screaming headache. And it, of course, was because, I was missing so much blood. And just went to bed the next day, still had a screaming headache. And I just happened to have a doctor's appointment the next day with a homeopathic doctor, and it was in Provo. And I drove down there. I still don't know how I got down there, because it was like, looking back, I'm like, wow, sister, you were super unsafe with what you did. But, sometimes as women, we're so strong. We just get through what we get through. Right. And so like my vision, like looking back on it was probably like tunnel vision. And he did a blood sample on me, and he was like, oh my goodness, your vitamin level is so low. What's this? I'm like blanking on the specific vitamin that you need in your blood. And iron. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Your iron level is so low. He was like, I'm going to give you like an iron infusion right now. And then I had to get on these like high iron pills, for like several weeks afterwards. But he was like, he told me, he was like, you could have almost bled to death. You could have died, because you were so low. And, so that was really scary coming out of that. But I knew that I was meant to have a kid. And, I always do that because my mom, I think she had a very spiritual connection. I think she was clairvoyant. I think she almost had like telepathy. I think she had some of these skills that I believe we used to have, that we've lost over the years. And she would, because she and I had such a strong connection, but she would say things to me like, there is a spirit in heaven waiting for you. You need to have a child. And I would be like, no way, that's creepy, Mom, not doing it. Like, I'm a feminist. I'm not from a conservative LDS household, even though I am, but I'm not conservative LDS like you are. Like, that's not my path. And she was so sweet and would always say things like, no, there is someone for you that needs to be born by you. And so, and I knew that was kind of true, even though for years and years, I like didn't want that. So when my husband and I decided to get married a little late at age 39, he was like, are you sure you don't want to have a family? I'll be with you either way, but I would like to have a family. Would you like to have a family?
Oh my God, I love Fletcher, but he's just like a fucking badass.
He's such a badass. And it made me start thinking, like, if I can provide this for him, why should I deny him this experience of being a father if he wants to be a father? Like, and then these conversations with my mom kept coming back, and I was like,
and was your mom still alive at this
point? Yeah, she was actually. And that was also like, I need to do this before she dies too, because she's, had all these issues and stuff and was getting older. So that's when we started trying. And then we had that one miscarriage, which I actually had 2 more after that. But that was like the doozy, right? So finally we did IVF and went through that whole process. And that was another 2 years. I mean, it took from when we started like really getting serious about it after we got married, it took 6 years 6 years until we had Esme. And I'm just so grateful that there is a thing called IVF, right? There's a whole process. And it was very expensive, blew all of our savings and all of our retirement on it, and had a failed egg retrieval because the doctor made a mistake on like the timing. And that was just, several $1,000s down the drain there. And you have to go through all of these injections, all these hormones. And I kept all of that a secret. I did not tell anybody the whole time. Even the miscarriages,
Friends, family, everyone. Just you and Fletcher were aware of what was going on.
Yeah, we didn't tell anybody. My staff didn't know. And, and so that's something that I think now, of course, I mean, my whole mission is die empty, right? I definitely would tell people what I'm going through. But now I think it's important to talk about it because there's women right now that are going through that or have experienced that, or that weren't lucky enough to go through the IVF, or, I went through it 4 times and then did 2 egg transfers. The first one failed and the second one, Esme, And so how beautiful and wonderful that my mom was right. There was a spirit waiting for me.
How did you survive 7?
Yes, that's a really great question.
Like, is it because you just knew you were like at that time, like going through those? I survived 1 and was like, I'm going to give this one more shot, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could have done 7.
Well, it honestly, and I probably need to talk with Fletcher because I don't think he knows how many I had. I didn't tell him about all of them. One of them really impacted him and still does. Honestly, I probably haven't fully processed all 7, to tell you the truth. I think that even talking about it now helps me process it a little bit. Yeah. But how did I know to keep going? I just wanted that. What really, really felt like she was waiting for me.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And it just makes me want to give like younger Angela a big hug and be like, you don't have to hold this alone.
Thank you.
There are people to hold it with you.
Thank you.
But maybe was your path, right? So you can hold it for other people now.
I think so. And I think it's, I guess I had to go through that experience to realize that I've got to share that experience, and I have to share more of those experiences and encourage others to do the same. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we can get better at sharing them when we're going through them, but it's okay if we don't, but eventually you should, because it can help people.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point to make, is that in this current culture we have of like, do better, be more well, get more healthy, we overlook that, yes, it is great if we can share in the moment while something is happening, but it's also great if you can share after when it happens. Like there is
Just as impactful.
Yeah, there is no timeline or like expiration date that occurs with the story being told. It can happen at any point in time. So I love that. And I just want to echo it to anybody listening that you haven't done anything wrong if you don't in the moment feel like you can't share it. And it takes 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years at some point. And also too, the sharing doesn't have to be with other people. Sharing through journaling, sharing through a conversation with yourself, sharing with a therapist. Like there's so many different ways to share that I think sometimes we get caught up in this. Like it's beautiful that you are in a place where you are sharing it publicly. Thank you for sharing on this podcast, by the way. But yeah, that it's an important thing that like we just share in different ways. Scream it into the void. If that's a share too. Someone's listening, I guarantee.
Yes.
It's not your neighbor getting mad that you're yelling. Something's actually out there listening.
It was really sweet. I feel like we haven't talked enough about SLUG Mag and Craft Lake City though.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, we talked about everything else. No, just kidding.
It's okay. We can wrap it up as this is why you should support SLUG Mag and Craft Lake City, because look at the incredible woman behind it
Oh, thank
who
you.
is leading her team in this very transparent, beautiful way to inspire them to share truth and stories. And that's what all this awesome stuff is about. Do you have anything that you want to share specifically about either of those endeavors?
Yes. Well, we're coming up August, the second weekend of August, 7th, 8th, and 9th is the 18th annual Craft Lake
Congratulations.
City. Thank you.
18 years,
18 years.
Angela.
I know, it's wild, right? So wild.
She's about to graduate high school.
She is. Yep. She is star student at the Craft Lake City DIY Festival at the Utah State Fair Park, and 3 days, 20,000 people. Also, if you want to DM me on Instagram at @TheRealAngela, I'll get you some free tickets. Get you free tickets on that
Definitely
resource.
take her up on that. It is an incredible show. Incredible show.
Thank you. All local, 3 stages, local bands, over 500 local artisans. We have a kids area. We've got a G Fiber STEM building. We're doing this indie video game conference on Sunday. So if you're into video games, that's cool. It's going to be so fun. So come down, see how amazing our creative community is. And then of course, SLUG Magazine, pick it up the first Friday of every month at any place cool, including MAVEN. So many of your local businesses carry SLUG Magazine.
Yeah,
as
Randy's right below us. Yep. Always has it.
I just saw
Always.
Lovebound in there too.
Yes, Lovebound, of course, and of course Maven Create, and we just really appreciate everything that you all do here and the community that you represent, and it's such an honor to be here today.
Well, I think about Craft Lake City is such a intrinsic part of Salt Lake City, and so is SLUG Mag, and the way you think about this dying empty and this, I want to give it all to this life. We think a lot about small business as being the way to build your freedom in life and to build equity in this world. If we have more women-owned businesses, and markets like Craft Lake City are just this beautiful, beautiful, attainable way to dip your toe in. Do I want to be a business owner? Do I really want to take this passion to the next level? And so I just want to say thank you. You have been a huge launching pad, diving board for brands. Some of them have turned into huge brands, and some of them not, because it's equally as important to be able to start a brand to also end a brand and change courses. So thank you. I'm amazed at how you think about life and how you want to just give.
Oh, thank you so much, Tessa. That means so much to me.
Wow. We're so lucky.
We are
Lakers.
lucky. I mean, honestly, I'm glad we didn't talk about SLUG Mag and we just talked about you the whole time.
You can read about
I was
SLUG
going to say,
Mag.
because we can read SLUG Mag and we got to read you like a lovely magazine. It was wonderful. So thank you for letting me be greedy too and asking for yet another deep, dark secret. I thought that was
you're
really
welcome.
beautiful and vulnerable. And
We're going to get some good ones the next podcast.
I know, send me
Some
your
even
deep,
deeper,
dark
darker
secrets.
ones. Whoa.
We won't read them on the podcast. We just want to know about them. But yeah, thank you.
Well, and
Angela.
let's challenge those women that maybe said no the first time to say yes the second time to come back on this podcast.
By Angela H. Brown.
Let's have you on. You won't have to say your deep, dark secrets, but I think it's important to say yes to things that scare you. I think that is our calling in life, to really grow. That if you're feeling the butterflies, you got it. That's the sign. You got to say yes.
Mm-hmm.